Hello, and welcome to a Path Less Travelled UK Church to Temple tour. My name is Marcy, and as with all my walking guides, the aim of this tour is to make travelling between points of interest more interesting. For the main attractions, please make full use of the guides at the sites to get the most of your visit. Also note that there are 4 churches on this tour, so you may want to avoid doing this walk on a Sunday when they might be closed to tourists. Check out their websites if you would like to attend a service. They are all Church of England, that is to say, Protestant. Before proceeding, please ensure you have listened to the introduction on YouTube or on the Path Less Travelled UK Facebook or Instagram pages. This will give you all the relevant information, such as important safety notices, as you are responsible for your well-being at all times on these tours. Also, don't listen to the commentary while walking. Please keep alert of your surroundings and find a safe spot to stop and listen. The next 2 photos are from Google Maps, giving an overview of the area we're covering. There are also detailed maps in each section of the commentary to assist you in finding your way around. The whole tour takes approximately an hour, not accounting for stopping at the sites. Now, assuming you're up to speed on the general premise of these tours, let's begin. We're starting today's tour at Barbican Underground Station, which is found on the Circle, Hammersmith and City, and Metropolitan lines. As you exit the station, turn immediately right and cross at the intersection to the opposite side of Long Lane. Pause commentary until you reach there. Once safely across, look briefly at the imposing tower on the opposite side of Aldersgate Street. This is part of the Barbican complex, and I mention it as the Barbican Centre often has very worthwhile events and shows, so it's worth checking out what's playing while you're in town. Today, however, we are going in the opposite direction down Long Lane to the first turning on the left, Cloth Street. Cross when safe to do so and turn left, and then right onto Middle Street. I know it'll feel odd being in a narrow back street, but bear with me. Pause commentary until you have reached Middle Street. Middle Street becomes Cloth Fair as you proceed down it, and you will see the back of St. Bartholomew's the Great Church on the left. We'll be exploring that in detail soon. For now, keep an eye on the right-hand side of the road for numbers 41 to 42. Pause commentary until you reach there. This charming house is the oldest house in the City of London. When I say City of London, I'm referring to the ancient square mile of the city, which is now primarily the financial and business districts. It was set out by the Romans in approximately 47 CE. CE stands for Common Era, and it's the new way of saying AD. Back to the house, though. They finished building it in 1614, and it escaped the Great Fire of London in 1666 due to the fact it was surrounded by the thick priory walls of St. Bartholomew's. It was under review for demolition in 1929, but by 1995 it was saved by its new owners and even won a City Heritage Award in 2000. Sir Winston Churchill and Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother are said to have signed the windows, along with many others, with a diamond pen. If you're wondering what a prestigious house like this would set you back, it was valued in 2023 for £5.5 million. Next, continue to the end of Cloth Fair and follow the road around to the left, but don't turn down Little Britain. Follow the bend in the road until you are in front of the Rogers, Bradford and Philpott Memorial. Pause commentary until you reach there. You are now standing in front of the memorial to John Fitzrogers, John Bradford, and John Philpott, who were burned to death in the years 1555, 1556, and 1557 respectively. As many as 60 Protestants were burned at the stake near this spot during the reign of Mary I, also known as Bloody Mary, and they were among the 300 people known as the Marian Martyrs. Mary was Catholic and was attempting to return the kingdom to what she considered the true faith, and being a Protestant was heresy. One of the many reminders of England's grim past. Now please walk past the steps on your right and stop at the William Wallace Memorial just on the other side. Pause commentary until you reach there. Those who have seen the film Braveheart will know the name William Wallace. He was a Scottish knight that helped defeat the English army at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297 during the First War of Scottish Independence. He was executed in 1305 when he was about 35 years old by being hung, drawn, and quartered. For the sake of younger listeners, I won't go into details about what that involved, except to say it is a particularly gruesome way to die. We are next continuing down the road a short way to your right until you reach an archway over the road with a statue of a Tudor king above it. Pause commentary until you reach there. This is the Henry VIII Gate, which was built in 1702, long after his reign. It is the only statue of the infamous king with 6 wives in London on public display. The gate ultimately leads to St. Bartholomew's Hospital, which recently celebrated its 900th anniversary, but we're only going just inside the gate to the church on the left-hand side. Pause commentary until you reach there. Ensure you are not in the roadway as you look at St. Bartholomew's the Less Church. This parish church has the distinction of being the only one physically situated in a hospital precinct. If you are able to pop in, you will find beautiful stained glass work. Look out for the nurse depicted on the right-hand window as you enter. Though the church was built on this site in 1184, much of what you see is later alterations and additions, such as the tower in the 15th century. It suffered bomb damage in World War II and was reopened in 1951. After visiting the church, please make your way back out the Henry VIII Gate and turn right, heading back towards the Wallace Memorial. As you walk, have a look at the damage on the wall to your right, which was not caused by age, but by the first air raid in London when Zeppelins dropped bombs in World War I. Stop when you are in front of the large Tudor gatehouse in front of you at the end of the street. This leads to the entrance of St. Bartholomew's the Great Church. Pause commentary until you reach there. The gateway you see today is made up of a 13th century arch with a 16th century Tudor building on top. It was covered up by a Georgian facade in the 18th century, which probably helped preserve it. Not until 1916 did the destruction caused by World War I help uncover its origins. If you look up, you should see a statue of St. Bartholomew looking out. Go through the archway and make your way to the inside of the church, possibly sitting on a pew to listen to the next section of commentary after you have viewed the font, Damien Hirst's exquisite pane sculpture, and the monuments around the church. Pause commentary until you reach there. St. Bartholomew's the Great Church looks very different from when it was founded in 1123 and then became a great priory. The church was much larger before, but it was heavily ransacked and half demolished during the dissolution of the monasteries under Henry VIII. It fell into disrepair and was occupied by squatters in the 18th century. For any Americans listening, Benjamin Franklin worked as a typesetter in a print shop that was set up in the church in the 1720s. In 1889, restoration work began to save the church to what you can see today. The crossing and the choir are original to the Norman church, and there are several well-preserved monuments. One tomb, located to the left of the altar as you face it, is that of Prior Rahiers. He had a vision on a trip to Rome that St. Bartholomew was telling him to build a church and a hospital in London. The fact that both are still here 900 years later is a credit to him. If you go around the back of the tomb, you will see an area of wall has been removed and resealed. They wanted to check which direction he was buried in, so they opened the tomb and removed his foot and sandal. Apparently, priests are buried in the opposite direction to common people so they could continue to face their congregation. At a later date, the sandal was returned to the church, but not his foot. Legend has it that at 7 a.m. on the 1st of July every year, a shadowy figure appears emerging from the vestry. Could this be the prior looking for his missing limb? I'll let you decide. If the church looks familiar to you, it could be that you have seen it in one of the many films it has appeared in. Just a few are Four Weddings and a Funeral, Elizabeth the Golden Age, Sherlock Holmes, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Shakespeare in Love. On your way out of the church, you will see a desk with a card reader on it requesting donations. I ask if you are able to do so, please donate to the upkeep of this jewel of a church. Ancient buildings are great money pits, so any amount would be appreciated, I'm sure. Now please pause the commentary until you are back outside the church entrance. As you make your way towards the gatehouse, stop briefly to admire the back of it. It just screams Tudor charm to me. Once through the gate, turn left and make your way down the street called Little Britain. The name has nothing to do with the comedy series, but refers to the Dukes of Brittany having their lodgings here. Please note that Little Britain continues at the pedestrian crossing to the left, Look at the map and the street signs to ensure you stay on Little Britain. Continue down to the very end of the street and turn right at the church on the corner. Turn right again at the black iron gateway next to the church, St. Bartolph's Aldersgate. Walk into the grounds until you reach the circular seating area. Pause commentary until you reach there. Located in Postman's Park, the pergola in front of you is called the Memorial to Heroic Self-Sacrifice. Unveiled in 1900, it commemorates ordinary people who died trying to save others. By 1931, 53 tiles were in place, but the people running the project had lost interest. In 2009, the first new tablet in 78 years was added. See if you can spot it. You may wish to take advantage of the benches to listen to the next section of commentary. Pause until you reach them. Exit the park where you came in through the gate and turn immediately right. Follow St. Martin's Le Grand down until you see a pedestrian crossing controlled by traffic lights. Cross to the opposite side. Continue to follow the road as it turns into Cheapside. Just before you reach Foster Lane, cross at the pedestrian crossing and go straight, following New Change. Along this street, you will pass a modern shopping centre on your left before reaching the entrance to a park called Reflection Garden. Find the large pool in the centre and go to the far side, so when you turn around you are facing the large dome building with the pool in front of you. Pause commentary until you reach there. You are now looking at St. Paul's Cathedral, Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece of architecture. Construction started in 1675 after the old cathedral was destroyed in the Great Fire of London. It was eventually opened in 1710. It was the tallest building in London for 250 years at 365 feet or 111 metres, losing out when the BT Tower was built in 1965. It is now approximately the 53rd tallest building in London. The reason I brought you to this park before heading to the front of the cathedral is, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, you get a wonderful view of the dome reflected in the pool, which makes for a better-than-average photo. If you wish, take advantage of the benches while you listen to the next section of commentary. Once you have taken your pictures, please make your way to the south exit of the garden to take the pedestrian crossing over New Change to the Festival Gardens. You can either climb the steps and walk through the gardens, or follow the pavement, that's sidewalk to our North American friends, along Cannon Street. Once you're at the front of the cathedral, near the statue of Queen Anne, find a safe place to stand and listen. Pause commentary until you've reached there. The reason there is a statue of Queen Anne in front of the cathedral is she was reigning monarch when it was opened. Once a relatively obscure queen, she has been brought to life from the pages of history by the film The Favourite, though let's just say liberties were taken with some of the facts. Now, look at the west front of St. Paul's, where on the 29th of July, 1981, Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles, who is now King Charles III. Princess Diana, who is the mother of William, Prince of Wales, and Harry, caused quite a stir at the time with her wedding dress that included a 25-foot, over 7.5-metre long train. Other notable events are the funerals of Lord Nelson, Winston Churchill, and the Duke of Wellington. The latter is famous for his involvement in defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. If you wish to visit the cathedral, please make your way to the marked entrance in front of you. Be warned, it is not a bargain venture at well over £20 per adult, but these buildings, as I have mentioned before, are expensive to maintain. Be sure to make the most of your visit by going to the Golden Gallery, if you can manage the 528 steps, and the crypt. Once finished, come back to the Queen Anne statue to continue your tour. Pause commentary now. Now head back down Cannon Street and cross at the pedestrian crossing, just past the modern-looking wooden building you see opposite. This is the City of London Information Centre, so you may wish to pop in if you require further information for your stay in London. If not, head straight ahead from the crossing down Peter's Hill, pausing to admire the National Firefighters Memorial. Pause commentary until you reach there. This memorial was originally dedicated to the brave men and women that battled the blazes caused by the Blitz in World War II. It was designed by John B. Mills and revealed in 1991. In 1998, it was decided to add the names of the firefighters that had died in active duty since the war. I am sad to say there is 1,992 names on this plinth. Next, continue down Peters Hill, crossing Queen Victoria Street, until you reach the beginning of Millennium Bridge. Please stand to one side when you get to the bridge, and pause commentary until you've reached there. As the name suggests, this pedestrian bridge was opened to celebrate the year 2000. It became famous for a wobble that is said to have been caused by the high volume of people crossing, synchronizing their footsteps. At its worst, it was recorded to sway up to 70 millimeters, or 2.8 inches. At the beginning of the film, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, it features the bridge being twisted about, and I can't help but think it was a little joke by the filmmakers to include it. The wobble has been fixed, and the bridge is safe to use. Please cross the bridge, taking in the views of both sides, and once down the ramp, turn right and make your way to Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Find a place to stand out of the main walkway where you can view the entrance gate. Pause commentary until you've reached there. The original Globe Theatre was built in 1599 for William Shakespeare to stage his plays. Architect Theo Crosby designed the current playhouse, which opened in 1997, to be a faithful reconstruction of the Elizabethan theatre. It is the only thatched roof building in London, as they were banned after the Great Fire. You can take a behind-the-scenes tour, ticket office is to your right, but I suggest booking that and any plays you wish to see before coming to avoid disappointment. Also, unless you opt to stand for the performance, I highly recommend paying extra for the seat cushion. The Globe is open during the summer season only, as it is an open-air theatre. Just around the corner is the San Wanamaker Playhouse, which is smaller, more intimate theatre for the winter season. If you can catch a performance of Macbeth there, you will not be disappointed. If the name Wanamaker rings a bell, it will either be from his involvement in getting the Globe built, or perhaps because his daughter Zoe Wanamaker played Madame Hooch in the Harry Potter films. Once you have finished at the Globe, make your way back to the Millennium Bridge, this time passing under it, and follow the signs to the entrance on the far side of the Tate Modern Art Gallery. It is free to enter at the time of recording, so even if modern art isn't your thing, it's worth sticking your head in. Pause commentary until you are just inside the doors. You are standing in the Tate Modern, which was opened in 2000. It was formerly a power station, which is why it is an unconventional space. The turbine hall, the one you're standing in, has changing exhibits that are sometimes interactive. If you'd like to view what the Tate has to offer, take the escalator up to the galleries and have a little explore. You never know, you might find your new favorite work of art. If not, at the very least, there are lavatories just off the hall and a cafe on the way out to grab a drink if artwork just doesn't grab you. The exit is up the stairs on the left, about halfway along the hall, through the cafe at the end, as mentioned. Once outside, turn right and head towards the river. Turn left and walk along the river until you reach Blackfriars Tube Station. Pause commentary and please stand out of the walkway. You are next going to go under Blackfriars Rail Bridge in front of you. After that, you will see a series of large rust-colored pillars in the river that mark the supports of the old bridge that were too difficult to remove. Just past this, you will see a staircase on the left taking you up to street level. Once at the top of these stairs, turn right to cross the bridge. As you do so, pause and look at the central divider in the road, look only, don't cross, and you will see one of the many dragons of London that act as ornamental boundary markers at the entry points to the city. They have been in use since the early 17th century. Cross over the bridge and stop when you pass the statue of Queen Victoria on your left on the central reservation, again, not crossing the road, and stand by the Blackfriars Water Fountain. Pause commentary until you've reached there. The Blackfriars Water Fountain, also known as the Temperance Drinking Fountain, was originally erected outside the Royal Exchange in 1861, but was moved in 1911 to make room for the London Troops War Memorial. I like to highlight it as a reminder of a forgotten age when something as commonplace as a water fountain would be made into a work of art. Carefully cross Blackfriars Passage in front of you and make your way to the pedestrian crossing on the left. Before crossing, however, have a look at the charming pub The Blackfriar on the right across the road. This is a fine example of buildings being squeezed into any space available. The interior of the pub is Art Nouveau in style, so if you're a fan, you might want to pop your head in. If not, continue to cross the A201 and turn left following the Victoria Embankment. On the right-hand side, you will soon come to John Carpenter Street. Pause commentary until you reach the statue of the American businessman. Entitled Taxi, this statue is a bronze cast of the original made by John Seward Johnson Jr. for the New York street corner. It was initially brightly painted to look lifelike, but the London weather has taken its toll, leaving the muted colours you see today. Once you have taken a photo with this handsome chap, continue your way down Victoria Embankment until you reach the gateway of Middle Temple Lane. You can stop there, or continue a few steps further up the street if you wish to see another City of London dragon. If you do so, please make your way back to Middle Temple Lane when you have finished. Pause commentary until you've reached there. You are now entering one of the main legal districts in London, so please respect that there are people working in the surrounding buildings. Make your way up Middle Temple Lane, through the beautiful archway, and up until you see a small park on the left-hand side. Opposite, on the right, you will find a passageway marked Pump Court. Go through the archway and to the other side of the courtyard. After passing through an area with some columns, you will see Temple Church. Pause commentary until you've reached there. Temple Church was built by the Knights Templar and consecrated in 1185. Sadly, with the exception of the outer walls and vaulting, almost everything in the church was destroyed by German air raids in World War II. It was expertly restored in the 1950s by Walter Godfrey, and thankfully copies of the knights' tombs had been made by other institutions so they could be displayed here again. The most famous of these knights is undoubtedly William Marshall, the first Earl of Pembroke, who was a key figure in the negotiations between King John and the barons before the signing of the Magna Carta. He was also regent of the kingdom when 9-year-old Henry III took the throne, making him the most powerful person in England at the time. If visiting, please go up the spiral staircase opposite the entrance to get some unique views of the church, as well as see the penitentiary cell, about halfway up the stairs. There are a wealth of displays all about the knights and the Magna Carta's impact on history. It is well worth the very modest entrance fee, in my opinion. If visiting the church, please pause the commentary now. If not, or you have completed your visit, please make your way around the outside of the church to admire the stunning Great Norman doorway to the west, that's the rounded end of the building. When finished, return to Pump Court and head to the small park opposite the archway that you first entered the court through. Feel free to grab a seat near the fountain while you listen to the next section of commentary. Pause commentary until you reach there. You are in Fountain Court, and when you are ready, head down the passage at the far end of the court, on the left, leading to Garden Court. If the gates are open, you may wish to have a little stroll through Middle Temple Gardens. Continue down the steps until you see a stone archway, take a sharp right outside the archway, and walk along the back of the car park to exit out the iron gate in front of you. Just outside the gate is 2 Temple Place. Turn left and make your way to the front of the building, careful not to stray onto the road. Pause commentary until you've reached there. The building was formerly known as Astor House, due to the house being built on and altered by William Waldorf Astor, founder of the New York City Waldorf Astoria. Built in 1895, it is neo-Gothic in style and contains the works of William Silver Firth and Nathaniel Hitch, among others. Though heavily damaged by bombs during the war, it was sympathetically restored from 1949 to 1951. You are only able to visit on special open days or to see temporary exhibitions, so please check the 2 Temple Place website for details. Walk down to the Victoria Embankment and use the pedestrian crossing to the opposite side of Temple Place to enter the park, walking until you reach the statue of John Stuart Mill on your right. Pause commentary until you've reached there. You are now looking at a tribute to the father of utilitarianism, which is the moral theory that actions that lead to people's happiness are right and those that lead to suffering are wrong. A really interesting man. Give him a Google when you have a chance. Next, turn and a short way down the path to the left is a statue of Lady Henry Somerset. Isabella Caroline Somerset was a philanthropist, temperance leader, and campaigner for women's rights in the Victorian period. Inspired to join the temperance movement after the suicide of a friend of hers who was intoxicated at the time, she eventually became president of the British Women's Temperance Association. She opened a colony in 1895 for the rehabilitation of alcoholics, which she saw as her most important task. Another interesting figure in history, worthy of further investigation. Now continue down the path until you reach the statue of William Edward Forster on the right. Pause commentary until you've reached there. William Forster is best known for two things. The first is his Education Act of 1870, which established the beginnings of primary school education in Great Britain. A decade later, he was Chief Secretary for Ireland, where his repression of the Land League earned him the name Buckshot Forster. This policy failed, and he resigned after 2 years in the post. At the end of the path, turn left and then right so you exit the gardens onto Victoria Embankment. Turn right and immediately right again towards the entrance to Temple Underground Station. The station is on the Circle and District lines. This is the end of the tour. I truly hope you have enjoyed it, and you will join me again on A Path Less Traveled UK soon.